In this lesson, we will see how we can get a list of basemap names that we can use with our map object. So open up the getBasemapNames.py script from the map object folder. Up top, we are importing our GIS class so we can access ArcGIS Online, and we are also importing our map class so we can create a map object that we can access the base maps available for our map object. Our map object has a property called Basemap, and this Basemap opens up a BasemapManager. And from that BasemapManager, we have access to a Basemaps property that will allow us to see a list of the basemaps available for us. So let's head over to documentation for the Basemap property for our map object. Here we have the Basemap property for our map object, and we can see that it returns a BasemapManager object that can be used to handle basemap related properties and methods on the map. Now it would be nice here if there was a link to our BasemapManager. The link is back in our Python script. I also have it open here. So here we have our BasemapManager object. It does have a number of properties and methods. The one we're interested in for this lesson is the basemaps property, and this will list all possible basemaps that we can use. So the flow is create a web map object, access the BasemapManager object, and from that BasemapManager object access the basemaps property. So let's head back over to PyScripter. We first access ArcGIS Online. We're then going to create a map object and access the BasemapManager. I'm just going to print the BasemapManager to screen. So we'll print, and we'll call our map class with empty parentheses, and we know that our map object has a basemap property that returns a BasemapManager. So let's just run this script at this point. Our script is complete, and we can see that BasemapManager was printed to screen. That from the basemap property for our map object, BasemapManager was returned. Now that we can access our BasemapManager, we can access the basemaps property from that manager and print the list of basemaps available to screen. We're going to use a for loop. So for each basemap in our map object, BasemapManager, from the BasemapManager we want the basemaps property. We will print the name of the basemap to screen. I'll comment out printing our BasemapManager, and let's run the script once more. Script is complete, and if I scroll back up the top, you can see a whole host of basemap names available for our map object. And in the next video, when we create a map object and save it as a web map item, we are going to assign one of these basemap names as the basemap for our web map. So just to recap, our map object has a basemap property that returns a BasemapManager object, and from that manager we can access the basemaps property and get a list of available basemaps to use in our web map. In this lesson, we saw that our map object has a basemap property that returns a BasemapManager object, and from that BasemapManager object, we could access a property called basemaps that returns a list of available basemaps that we can apply to our map object.